YouTube. What is good, family? It's the guy Rich Kelly. I am back with another video, man. Um, Trying to, be consistent as possible, like clockwork. And if you can't tell, I'm on home time. So, um, title of this video, should you come work for Swift? This is just my personal experiences, my personal thoughts, my personal review. So I'm gonna jump right into it, man. What I feel, what I think about Swift, it's a lot to unpack here. So, um, from start to finish, man, I feel like Swift is a good company to work for. Now, hear me when I say this. I know in most of the videos that I've posted, I speak on how it's a learning curve or how frustrated I am or this, that, and the third. I feel like that comes with jumping into any new career that you're not as familiar with as you may think. Me personally, I thought I was well versed in logistics, having been doing it for a decade now. Did it in the military. It's completely different than civilian side. Then when I got out, I went worked for a couple of companies, unload docks, this, that, and the third. That's another side. So I know ins and outs of specifics within logistics. I know how to manage it. I know what it's like to be a dock worker. I know what it's like to unload them trucks. I know what it's like to be in the factory sorting, um, and all of that other stuff. So I know logistics, but now that I'm getting the experience, behind this wheel, literally picking up and transporting from place to place, shipper to customer, so on and so forth, I'm starting to understand, the differences. Um, as for Swift, I feel like it's a good company to work for, man. My personal experience, my my driver leader is cool. He's clutch. It seems as though he's trying to ensure that I get to make a decent amount of money. Um, he's making sure he lines things up for me, and he's pacing me. He's not just throwing the whole book at me. I haven't really had too many issues with, just feeling overwhelmed. Like I have too many loads to deliver or pick up or something like that. I did, however, pause from shooting content for like a couple of days or so because I wanted to ensure I position myself to be able to, make sure I'm doing the right thing, make sure I'm understanding the system. I was sat down for like three days almost, uh, and that was because they had no freight for the refrigerator unit. Um, I worked the refrigerator unit, but the good thing about that is because I work the refrigerator unit, I also can work the dry van unit. So that's exactly what they did. They got me in contact when I was out in Memphis. They got me in contact with the team over there, the dispatchers over there. And the lady I spoke with, she was super cool, super sweet, super kind. She she did what I wish I would have gotten from the jump. Um, Oftentimes when I feel like I have one load at a time, I space it out, I take my time. I don't necessarily manage my clock the best. But this lady that was dispatching when I was on the dry unit side for like 4 or 5 days, she literally made sure that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and she gave me 3 loads back to back to back. She was like, I'm gonna give you this load that you're gonna run right now. I'm gonna load your next 2 loads right after that. And she did it in a way where there was enough space for me to have mistakes. Like, hey, I'm looking at your clock. I know how much time you got for your 70-hour clock. I know how much time you got for the remainder of today, so on and so forth. I know what it would look like if I loaded you up like this. And that's exactly what she did. She loaded me up 3 loads back to back to back, and I ran them. And it felt good because I didn't have to call in and wait 2, 3 hours for a return call to figure out what am I doing next, how am I moving next, or whatever the case may be. So that's one of the reasons I kind of feel like, it's good to work for Swift. Some people do know what they're doing on that dispatch side, and some people um, know how to set you up. In the system, it says that I'm a rookie driver. So, obviously some people are trying to pace it, but some people, I guess they have a different structure with pacer rookie drivers. She gave it to me like I had been on the road for the longest. And I ran it like I had been on the road for the longest. And then when I went back to refrigerator side, everything just fell apart again. And I don't want to say fell apart because that sounds super stiff, but everything became more complicated again. I had to drop off the drive. I had to drop off the drive van. Then I had to wait 3, 4 hours to try to find another reefer. And then I was sent to one spot to find a reefer, couldn't get one from that spot. Sent to another spot to find a reefer, couldn't get one from that spot. And then finally was told uh to deadhead to my pickup. So it's like it was a lot of complications on the reefer side, even though I was supposed to see a pay increase because I'm running reefer. I did get my pay increase. I know in the previous video, I spoke to my driver leader about me not getting the proper pay. Well, I double checked it, and that pay was immediately corrected before I even got my first paycheck. So, and he did well by, giving me the contacts of the people I needed to reach out to. So I had to reach out to payroll. And I just called them. I was like, hey, um, my pay was supposed to be 52 cents, veteran pay, whatever. I'm not seeing that right now. It's showing 45. The lady was like, okay, cool. I'll make sure you got your paperwork submitted, your DD 214. As long as you got that submitted in there, then we'll go back and fix it. But it'll take up to 3 months for them to fix your pay if they have already started paying. Sure enough, they didn't start paying me. So before I even got the pay on um, my first load, it was corrected. I'm also going to pull up screenshots and I will show y'all what that pay has looked like for me. Granted, I'm getting paid 52 cents a mile, and I've only gotten 3 checks so far. I've gotten almost a $600 check. It was literally 598. I got a $502 check, and I think the check that I just got uh, this past Friday was like $522. Keep in mind, I have had $150 pulled out of my account each week as well to pay extra in taxes. And I also have to pay child support for one of my children. So there's that. So let that be a factor into, why my paychecks have been shorter than what you would think. So honestly, I'm thinking my paychecks, once you see them up here, you'll notice that my paychecks would have been closer to about $800 a week, um, if I wasn't taking so much out to pay extra in taxes up front, and then if I didn't have to pay child support. So like I said, once again, I'm getting paid 52 cents per mile. I'm not getting paid like a rookie driver. I'm getting paid like somebody that's been in maybe a year or so, um, which even so, it's still not a lot of money, especially with the way that I've been running. And I feel like if I could get a system down and run better, that $500 will double up real quick. Um, I hope that once I go back here this Tuesday or tomorrow, yeah, I hope once I go back tomorrow, um, basically, they'll start to plan my trips ahead of time for me. Give me 2 loads at a time. See if I can meet that first destination and then that second. Because lately, the last 3 loads I did before coming home, I was pick up and drop off early. I picked up early, dropped it off early. My very last load, I wasn't supposed to pick up until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or the load before that. Uh, to come back to Texas, I had to pick up in Tennessee, I think, and I had to drive it down to McKinney, Texas, and I literally got there day ahead and had to sit for somewhere around 14 to 16 hours waiting because they wouldn't accept the load early. So 6 o'clock rolled around the next morning. I was in there, got that off. They had my next load it was just a drive around the city from McKinney. I had to go pick it up in Burleson and then drop it off at the Lancaster terminal. I literally, soon as I was done, I was out of there about like 7:38ish. Soon as I got done with that, I drove over to Burleson. It took me about an hour and a half. I checked in. The lady was like, What time is your pickup?" And I was like, "My pickup's not till 3 o'clock this afternoon." She looked at me. She looked at me. No, it was like 4 o'clock this afternoon. She looked at me. She's like, "Man." So I had to sit around for about an hour, waiting for them to finish loading because that shipper was kind of slow. They had a few docks. They didn't have a lot of docks, so I had to sit around and wait for about an hour. I got in. I was out of there by like 12 o'clock, and I was at the Lancaster terminal by 2 o'clock. And I picked up and dropped off because it was a T call or a split load. I picked up and dropped off 2 hours before I was even supposed to pick up. So I feel like I started to get the system down, and I kind of think it's also because I wanted to get home as soon as possible. Like I said, I got some personal things going on right now that um, here in a little bit, once I leave and go to this meeting or whatever and come back, I'll have to make some decisions on what the next step is. What I look like or what I look forward to doing um, as a trucker, because right now it's just looking like we figuring it out, we're getting it together. Now how can we double the speed of that? I literally just purchased my monitor to put in my truck. It's a gaming monitor. I'm gonna just take my PlayStation, man. I purchased that so I could put it in my truck, make myself a little bit more comfortable just in case they give me too much downtime. I got to figure out a better eating habit. Um, but yeah, man, it's been a learning curve. So I feel like Swift is a good company to work for. I literally see left and right, day in and day out, people making fun of Swift. People, oh, they got the worst driving record or whatever the case, whatever they call it. The Swift is not the best company. Da 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 da. That may be the case. Swift do have some crappy drivers. Hell, the drivers I was seeing on the road, a lot of them are driving 50 miles an hour instead of the 60 or the 66 or 68 miles an hour that we can go. 68 is the max, and you only get that for an hour a day. My truck was maxed out at 66 miles per hour. So that's one of the downsides of trucking for Swift. I dislike that because now, um, one, I'm in a truck with a smaller engine. So I'm getting loads that's 40,000. I'm getting almost maxed out loads, and my truck is screaming. I mean, screaming, just struggling to get uphill, struggling to get pick up speed, all of that stuff. And trucks is flying past me. Trucks are getting mad because I'm driving slow, cutting me off. Then you got the four wheelers that I don't understand. I do understand it because I see it every day, but just to see it from a trucker's point of view, the four wheelers are crazy out here. They jump in front of these trucks like the trucks are cars. They expect the trucks to be able to stop. My driving my driving bonus for having like a safety drive, a driving safe, that shit shot out the window because people continuously cutting me off. And like between the four wheelers and the 18 wheelers, the other truckers on the road, it's like you're jumping in front of a Swift truck. Everybody knows that these trucks that we have, especially the newer model trucks, everybody knows that they have that safety feature, that distance feature, and they will jam on the brakes for you. And it is very unsafe. There was 3 times I was on the road where a car cut me off, and then all you hear is beep 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 beep. That red light flashing, saying, "Hey, I'm about to hit something," and then boom, now you hear the brakes, and now my truck is pulling, and I'm going into the next lane. I'm already halfway into the next lane, so it's like that safety feature is not so safe, especially when you're loaded, especially when you got 18 wheelers that have no limiter that's driving these trucks like they regular vehicles. And then not to mention the regular vehicles, the four wheelers on the road driving, trying to get to where they get to in traffic and stuff like that. It is. I've seen it all. I've been on the road a long time, whether I'm behind a wheel driving 18 wheelers or whether I'm just up and down the highway. It's crazy, but it's crazier when you're loaded and you have a lot of weight and you have a lot of responsibility on your hands. Um, so yeah, I don't like the safety feature as much. I don't like the drive safe scoring because it's real picky. And what I mean by real picky is you easily can get your score. Like they want you to have a 20 or below. You easily can get over a 20 in the city, especially like if you're driving through Atlanta, because they do not care. Like I said, I would never move to Atlanta. I've been out of Atlanta a few times, and every time I go to Atlanta, I do not want to drive because it's Mopar City out there. Is swerve in between lanes. There's traffic. We're going 45. I'm going to punch the gas and get in between two more cars, get in front of two more cars if I can. That's how they drive out there. And I done been in enough accidents. I feel like it's hella unsafe. So there's always frustration driving through Atlanta, whether it's in an 18 wheeler or in my personal vehicle. So the safety feature, the drive safe score, those are two things that I kind of dislike about Swift, but it also does teach you to be a safer driver. I noticed when I was driving home and when I've been on the road just going to go to the store, pick up little things here and there, I literally noticed like, hey, I'm real cautious about how I drive now. I stop way longer than I used to. I drive way slower than I used to. My head is constantly on the swivel a lot more for other vehicles. So I feel like it teaches you to be safer as a driver. So that's the good thing about the safety driving feature. But or the safe drive and trying to make sure you reach that score so you can get that pay bonus. But that safety driving feature on them 18 wheelers, I do not find them safe at all. Like I said, the three times that I almost died was because that automatic braking pulled that pulled it. It's like an e-brake. It pulled the brake, and then I'm Lamelo Ball or Leangelo Ball swerve been the corner, swerve been the corner. Whoa! So yeah, man, I don't. It's like I said, it's a lot to like about Swift. Um, the company I feel like is a good company. One of the other things I dislike is the communication. There's supposed to be no texting and driving, but all you get is a bunch of messages. Hey, your refrigerator. I can understand reefer unit. Hey, it's letting me know my temperature's not correct. Cool, I'll check it when I stop. But for dispatchers and driver leaders to be texting you, trying to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to. Hey, I am rolling. I cannot, or I can, but it's gonna be very unsafe to pick up this phone and text you back when it's 10 times easier to pick up the phone and call. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, my driver leader, cool. Fernando, cool dude, super communicative, uh, super flexible, super understanding. Like literally, he was calling me once a day, at least. I think he get in at 8:39 or whatever, but he called me sometime around 10 o'clock almost every day. Hey, um, you good? Hey, you got this on your drive score. Your safety drive said you hit a U-turn. Hey, your safety drive score said you didn't keep the proper following distance. Just make sure you give proper following distance. I feel like he was very lenient in coaching me up. Um, Even though my argument was I was on that break. I'll be on the break. It's just I'll be safely on the break. And so I don't push down on the brake as hard as I probably could or should. But every time that safety feature flashes, distance, 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 I put foot to the brake because I have been trying to get that drive or that penny bonus for driving safe. Um, but it just hasn't been as safe as I guess their system wants it to. That's why I currently dislike the scoring system. But we got time to work on it. Like I said, my driver leader is super communicative, coaching me up through it. Even though I feel like I drive safe and I know that I'm driving safer than what their system says, I can't help it if, like I said, 18 wheeler that's not governed is flying down the highway 80 miles an hour and they want to cut me off because I want to drive in the middle lane because I know I'm going a long distance and I don't need the cars swerving in and out, hopping on the highway, hopping off the highway, whatever the case may be. And then the four wheelers wanting to drive crazy. I'm driving as safe as possible in that middle lane at all times, but especially if I'm going a long distance and everybody could drive around me. I know slower traffic is supposed to keep to the right, the far right. That's cool. I would do that in certain cities. I would not do that because people getting on that highway just do not understand. Speed up real fast if you see you're going to be able to get in front of me, or slow down and just let me keep my pace, because it's 10 times harder for this fully loaded trailer to pull this load and pick up speed, which is going to cause more traffic for everybody, which is going to cause a potential accident for everybody. Um, I've always understood that logic with driving though, not even just driving 18 wheelers when I'm on the highway. Hey, if I'm looking to my left getting on and I see I'm already in front of the car in front of me, I'm gonna speed up a little bit more so I can get him some room. Or if I feel like I'm going a little bit slow or I'm matching their speed, if I'm not in a rush, I'll slow down, let them go ahead and take the lead. Cool. But some people just like, it just seemed like that is just, especially the newer generation of drivers, everybody's on their phone, texting and driving, swerving. Okay, you finna get crushed by this 18 wheeler, and then you gonna file that report saying I hit you, but I'm gonna tell them you was on your phone because this big ass truck is looking down at you like this the whole time trying to text and drive. It's just a bunch, man. But um, once again, I feel like Swift is a cool company to work for. I plan on this next run I'm going on. Like I said, I got my monitor, I got that set up. I'm gonna try to take some meal prep with me so I could do a lot better. But I gotta figure out a system to continuously push my loads. I would like to be loaded back to back to back. That way I could kind of figure out a system to understand, okay, when I need to reset my clock versus, because literally it's been, I deliver a load and I sit down for like 6 hours before my next load assignment comes in. It's like I don't like that. I would like to know that, hey, I got to this spot, I got my next load already ready to go, so I can keep pushing, so I can pick up earlier, so I can get ahead to be able to pick up earlier or on time for that next load versus sitting around. Like literally, it was one load a day, and it was an offset, so it got to a point where um, I would pick up in the morning and I would deliver the next day in the morning. And then I get another load that same day that was pick up that night, deliver basically 2 days later in the morning. So it was just a bunch of spread out loads. So it's been hard to kind of understand my clock or get used to my clock and be more consistent in picking it up. And I don't know if that's because of freight. I don't know if that's just because I'm a rookie driver and they're trying to slowly ease me into the game. But so far, so good, man. We're taking this home time to pick up the rest of our stuff, do a reset, and try to get back to it. I will say it's been hella uncomfortable sleeping in this truck for me because that PTSD kick up, people slamming doors, truck engines cutting on. It feel like I'm in the field on deployment again. So it's just like every night, like me sleeping has been a real big issue that I'm going to try to figure out how I can regulate that, how I can make it more comfortable. I know the summer's coming up and my truck gonna be running because I sweat like crazy at night. And I sleep in my house, I sleep at 68 degrees alone. So yeah, that truck gonna be running. I'm not gonna get that fuel saving bonus, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, so that's my quick rant on if I feel like Swift is a good company to drive for. Like I say, I've heard issues of people with their driver leaders. I've heard issues of people getting freight. I can only imagine getting paid 45 cents per mile with the check that I'm getting. Um, so yeah, I could only imagine, man. Getting paid 45 cents a mile would be crazy. So yeah, man. I mean, hopefully, if y'all do decide to come to Swift, y'all enjoy it. Hopefully, y'all get a good driver leader. Hopefully, y'all get a good mentor. I feel like the training program could be a little bit longer, to teach the ins and outs that some of these other drivers or these other mentors are not able to train. I wish that they would pair up drivers more so with what they're going to actually be doing. I don't feel like at this point, I currently do not feel like any mentor that is on a dedicated route should be training. Why? Because we're over the road. We have 9 times out of 10, we have a completely different system we have to run by because we're going to multiple different places. Whereas on these dedicated routes, they're going to the same few spots day in and day out. And I feel like there's a lot of information you can skip and miss out on if, you know, you're just thinking I gotta go to these same few spots every day and this is my system. That's cool. But on this road stuff, learning how some of these docs don't want certain things to go a certain way. I spoke about lumper fees in a previous video. Um, Clock management is completely different when you on the road versus dedicated. And I feel like that's things that kind of have thrown me off over the course of me learning this trucking industry. But yeah, man, it's been smooth. It's been good. Like I said, hopefully we can get something going pretty soon here to where we stay on that road, man, and we making that money. But that all depends on, like I said, what goes on after this meeting I'm about to go to here in a few. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. I appreciate the people that have left comments. Um, I appreciate the people that have subscribed. Matter of fact, we're gonna go through one of these comments real quick, or a few of these comments. So my man Trucker Dan 75, Trucker Dan 75, um, he mentioned that he's been on the road for 28 years now, right? Been on the road for 28 years. He said my mentor failed me. I responded to him, but at the same time, I feel like it'd be good to respond on here just to, engage and interact. As far as my mentor failing me, like I said, I feel like he didn't necessarily fail me. I just understand that some truckers, y'all get in the system. Y'all have dedicated routes or y'all have already developed a system. Once you're in the game for so long, you learn the system and you perfect your craft, and that's what I'm trying to get to. And I feel like as far as my mentor, he was just showing me his system. And then I did mention that in some ways I feel like he's just trying to get people in and out the truck because he's getting that bonus, he's getting that extra pay to be a mentor. To walk away with $120,000 in 1 year, and you do, I want to say 7 hours, not even 7 hours of driving. I'll say 5 to 7 hours of driving plus drop off. While the trainer does the 11 hour, the almost the full 11 hours to get back faster. Yeah, it's gonna put you to a point where you chase the bag versus actually teach or coach up. So in some ways, yes, you could say my mentor failed me. In some ways, I understand and respect the fact that he already has a system and that system works for him. And that system is what he teaches other people to like. Once you have been in the game long enough, you know, this is how you can operate, which is smooth. I've complained already. Once I was about to get in my truck, I was like, hey, look, I want to go straight to a dedicated route. Put me on a dedicated route. I work a dedicated route. I figured out, and they was like, nope. We want to make sure you know how to get to your loads on time. We want to make sure you're not gonna just damage the truck, or you're not gonna run off with the truck, or leave the truck sitting somewhere once you get pissed off and quit, whatever the case may be. So I understand not being able to get on a dedicated route, though I feel like if you allow people to start off on a dedicated route, they can learn the system a lot better. But in the same breath, I understand why the veteran truckers get the dedicated route first. So yeah, Trucker Dan, yeah, I feel like I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, I try to show grace because, like I said, that man has a complete system. Um, Joe Hartley 6445, he said he been doing this for 35 years. Dude, never gonna figure the industry out. It constantly changes. As somebody that has been in logistics myself for, like I said, a decade now, um, I've already known that. Like I've already known, things change constantly. Nothing ever stays the same. Nothing is there's a rare occasion where on time is on time. So I understand stuff gonna change. It constantly changes. Hell, they changing the system that we clock right now. The Zonar tablet, they're changing it to something else right now. So I understand that there's a constant change with that. There's a constant change in the way we work, deliver loads, so on and so forth. It's just the way the game goes, man. I know it, and I'm used to constantly changing. Hell, it happens in my life as always. So yeah, man, we stick it with it. And then my man Jerome Rowe 74, he said, "Sir, it's your first, so take whatever they give you." And I'm not sure if this was like like a messed up text, but I kind of picked up what he was putting out, you know. Yeah, I wasn't too picky about, you know, whatever truck I got. Still not too picky about it. Um, I just want, like I said, I just want to get on the road and start making money. Like for me, it's about getting to the money. As long as I'm getting to the money, man, I'm good. So I enjoy the truck. I think it's comfortable. I wish the engine was stronger. I wish it was a little bit bigger, but you know, it just comes with the game. Um, I'm new to the game on this side of it, so I'm grateful that I'm able to get this experience and work it out. With that being said, man, I know I have went well over time on this video. Once again, I appreciate y'all for liking. I appreciate y'all for subscribing. I appreciate y'all for leaving comments as well. I will catch y'all in the next video. Y'all be safe. For my truckers, y'all keep on trucking. Peace.